Hey there, Tim McKeown, Associate Pastor, First Baptist Church, Killeen. Wanted to give just a brief introduction to our last session for week 3. We are right at the midway point for making membership more meaningful, and wanted to let you know that this is the last episode that we are going to have on our Facebook page. We are going to be going to our YouTube page as well as our fbckilleen.com webpage. If you want to go there, it's under the tab for Exploring Church Membership, or you can go to it simply by fbckilleen.com/FBCK member, and also bit.ly/FBCK member. So if you want to be watching that, today's episode is on separation of church and state, a Baptist distinctive and our church distinctive, and this is especially timely right now because we are in the middle of some government regulations on the church. And what is the official stand for our church in regards to being subject to the laws, but also not allowing the state to regulate the church or the church to even regulate the state. We're going to watch that today. So again, beginning next week, you will not see it here on Facebook. You will see it at bit.ly/FBCK member, and the title's right there at the bottom, or at our webpage, fbckilleen.com/FBCK member. So those addresses should be there at the bottom of the screen. So tune in there beginning next week. God bless, and have enjoyed it. Thank you, Steve, again for joining with us. And now we will watch the final session of week 3. God bless. Go.
All right, well, welcome to day 6. Today we are talking about separation of church and state, another easy topic for this week. Our text is going to come out of Mark chapter 12, verse 17, and beginning with verse 17, I'm going to read. It says, "And Jesus answered and said to them, Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And they marveled at him." So, Tim, separation of church and state. What is the proper role or the proper relationship between the local body of believers, the church, and any form of secular government that's over them in the sense of secular rule?
Yeah, I think we have such a heritage, really initiated by the Baptists all the way back from Roger Williams and the founding of our country, and really all the way back to Jesus and even before then, that we don't have a theocracy in the sense that God is ruling over our country. We have a democracy in which the people have elected the state. And so whenever we look at that through our history, the state has persecuted many times the church, and yet the church has stood up to the state and said, we are going to obey God. Even from as early as the book of Acts, where the apostles went to the people who were trying to tell them what they should do, and they said, you decide, is it right for us to obey man or to obey God? We are going to keep speaking the words that God has told us. So Thomas Jefferson was influenced by these people who believe in the separation of church and state from this passage right here. And he said there is a wall of separation between the church and state, that our nation has inalienable rights. No one gave them to you. No one can take them away. These are from God, from our Creator, that we have the right to believe in what God has given us. So we believe in that. Now, we have inherited so much freedom and liberty and lack of influence from the state for so many years that it's no longer really become an issue until lately.
Right.
And over the last few years, we are starting to see some encroachments in our country of the state trying to influence the church and dictating to the church. Now, some people will say, well, I believe in separation of church and state, that the church should never try to influence the state. That's not true.
That's not what it says, though.
It doesn't say that. In fact, the Bible says that we're to be good citizens, and good citizens vote. and we vote that we can maybe to pray for God to give us freedom and live quiet lives, but we are to do our civic duty in voting, and even as George Washington said, prefer to put Christian leaders in authority over us so that we can live that quiet and peaceable life, so we can influence the state as good citizens, because that's what our country calls us to do.
Right.
But there is a separation, that we don't look for the state to rescue us. We don't look for the state to establish us. We don't accept tax dollars to come into our church. We should be separated from that, and as such, that if there ever comes a time where the state tries to dictate to the church what they should or should not do, then we have a responsibility to say what the apostle said, is that we will obey God and not man. So that is a historic place. Even that phrase is not found in the Bible, separation of church and state, but neither is it found in the Constitution.
Yeah, no.
It was originally written by Thomas Jefferson in a letter written to a group of Baptists.
Yeah.
And he said that the wall of separation is a high wall between the church and state. And basically what he was saying is that the state will never dictate to the church what you should do. And so that wall was really a one-directional wall.
Right.
He was saying, we will not dictate to you, but as a leader of the state, he was not saying that the church should never try to do any type of influence towards the direction of our country.
Is there ever a time that it's good and necessary for the church to cooperate with civil authorities?
Yeah, and there is a big division going on now. Should we say our pledge to allegiance, at Vacation Bible School? Should we be teaching our children? It is not a pledge of allegiance in the sense of saying we are going to do this, but it is to say that we want to respect the flag. We want to respect Christianity, and we want to respect the Bible. We want to be good citizens to the state, and citizenship is affirmed in the Scriptures. But so we do want to practice that. But then there's also a time where we have to say our true allegiance is really to God.
All right.
And God
Okay.
alone.
Well, good.
More information, just like all of these are snippets of this membership class. This is what we are. This is who we are. We are Peak Baptist, and we do believe in all of these doctrines, and you've made it through probably the hardest part of our membership class. Next week, we go on to week 4, and on to
We're
that.
going to talk about membership means involvement.
And we want you to be involved in our church. So thank you for joining us this week. May God bless you. And see you in church hopefully soon. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.